And welcome everyone to Belshir Vestige for Game 4 of the MSL Code S Semifinals. This matchup, of course, between the red Terran opponent here in the top left-hand corner, pyrO, and his blue Terran counterpart, Apocalypse, here in the bottom right. So we do see everything going very typically. We do see the fact that I do believe they have very different logos. It's important for the SCVs that are colorblind. Remember, you can be red-green. I'm not really familiar with red-blue colorblind, but hey, it's the StarCraft universe. Still doing the really cool star pattern for the forward supply depot. This is something we've seen consistently throughout the game. It does not come back and hurt him yet. Remember, low ground units can take walls down, and all Terran units have range. So, could be a little bit delicate at times, and instead Apocalypse taking that a little bit more economic choice. Although this barracks is actually quite late. Look at how much later it is. It is a full 10-15 seconds behind his opponents. And 10-15 seconds might not feel like a lot, but at this level of play, and as you move forward into maybe even Grandmasters, that can cause a huge difference. So really getting those builds down crisp, making sure the SCVs not just have the ability to build it when you pull it from right here to over here, but are right here when you have the money. That actually makes a really big difference in how fast you can get those units out early game. We'll see if he goes again. Looks like this was a 13 gas, very standard gas timing for him and his opponent. His opponent starting it a little bit earlier, of course. See if we see an orbital command from pyrO right now. There it goes on 15, cutting a little bit of SCV production, about half of an SCV, whereas opponent goes for the 16 orbital command, finishing that next SCV. Really not a huge difference there. It just allows you to get mules faster, but over time, it actually, I mean, you're one less SCV, so it's a small difference. Not a huge difference, but a difference nonetheless. Apocalypse hiding an SCV over here, and pyrO actually scouting around for it. Excellent job on map awareness. 1 Rax on the ground right now. 1 Reaper finished, and a proxy factory. Is he going to scout it? I think he's definitely going to scout it. He definitely scouted. Oh no! Okay, so this could be pretty bad. It looks like we're going to have a proxy Rax, or a proxy factory, and then probably a proxy Stargate as well. This could be for fast Hellions, but I'm really not seeing that. We do have the command center going down from pyrO, not seeing anything out of the ordinary. What, in fact, does he see? He sees absolutely nothing in his opponent's base. And this is another one of those maps where Reapers are just not as effective because they have a much smaller area to jump in on. He will be able to get in. These Marines here are not paying attention. I have no idea. So it's going to be able to get a good scout off. However, he does, in fact, guess at it. Goes ahead. He is going to take that out. Excellent win there. Do we have the army? And no, we're going to see Hellbats. We are going to see Hellbats, I do believe. I think we should. Although the tech lab's still very confusing to me. Seeing the fast armory, I almost feel like there's no reason to have a fast armory unless you're going for Hellbats. And there's nothing in production here. I'm a little bit confused by this build. Not one that I'm familiar with. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's not a build. It just doesn't mean that it's one that I've been watching in WCS or any of the other tournaments that I've been watching lately. So once again, we just have a proxy. We have a pretty well defended natural here from pyrO. So we're going to see how he deals with whatever is coming out of this factory. Ooh, it's going to be a Thor. The proxy Thor build? It makes a little bit of sense. Thors walk really slowly, so building them closer to your opponent can be a good idea. These Marines here making their way across the map should be able to reach here just about the right time for that Thor to come out. And I do actually believe that pyrO might not be ready for this at all. It will depend a little bit on if there are SCVs pulled to repair. There are. This is going to be a really heavy all-in from pyrO. Seeing that there's no SCVs here, he's got to know something is up. What does he do? What does the player camera do? He's trying to see what's going on. I hope he starts another bunker. He needs another bunker. No, he's just gonna throw down a factory. So a little bit interesting choice. That Thor is done, and it is stuck. He, I mean, he could have gone for a Thor, but he decided to go for a proxy. So we'll see what happens here. He That's terrible. He forgot to do, for those of you who don't know, you can click and then click again and make sure the rally point is fixed. That Thor is stuck completely. That is terrible. This will delay this attack quite a bit, and that'll actually give him enough time to do exactly what he needs to do to prepare for it. And by that I mean just have more units. That's the only thing he needs. Stim is going to be done, and one Thor does not make an attack on a whole bunch of bio units. Even though there are a pretty good number of SCVs here to repair, I don't think that's going to be enough to break this wall, although it really will depend on when the SCVs are called to repair. So here we go. The Thor being used to tank damage, everything trying to focus it down. The barracks will go down. The barracks, the bunker, go ahead. It's taken out. He's going to see if he's going to be able to take out this orbital command. I do not believe that he will. He should be doing something in the main. He's going to be scanning up there, trying to make sure that he's not going into some sort of a trap. There's nothing much up there, although there's enough up there that I don't think that he can really make his way up the ramp. And with the number of SCVs, he's down a decent number. He hasn't lost many yet, but I feel like as soon as this Thor goes down, he's going to be very vulnerable. There's no bile right next to it. The stim has finished. A whole bunch of SCVs repairing, but it's not going to be enough. And I think Apocalypse is going to be forced to pull back. Remember, he's not lost very many SCVs at this point in time. They're actually very even, although I bet Apocalypse is feeling very much all in, very much behind. He's going to send those workers back to mine. That'll take a little bit longer to start. So we have a very interesting opening. I think if this right here had not locked the Thor into that building, if he'd done a rally point, click down here, and then over, he would have been able to have two Thors there, and the attack would have happened a little bit earlier, and it would have been much harder to hold. So really interesting build from Apocalypse, but ultimately it did not end up working out because of perhaps a small error, or maybe one that you weren't quite thinking that you'd see, to be completely honest. So 2 SCVs should be coming out here to time. Just a moment. Orbital Command not continuing to make so many right now, although we do see the mine production for the first time throughout the games. We have the Widow Mines, the very front. We do have Combat Shield just about done, and a very slow-moving factory, sadly, making its way across the map as it's not able to be producing anything else at this time. So really interesting. This base is up. The harvester count is actually really even, so the income is actually going to be really even as well. The difference should be mules. Yeah, it was mules. Now the income should be back to equal. Yep, there we go. Though we do see mules coming down for Apocalypse as well. The army count is actually where the difference is, and it's really going to need Apocalypse to make some really cost-efficient trades. So the thing about Widow Mines is that they're very, very high damage units. There we go. Where are we? 125 damage plus 35 versus shields, and they do 40 splash damage. They do huge damage, but they do it in burst damage. So if the spider mine or the Widow Mines do not get down, you're really not able to use that army value. So that's actually quite a bit of food that's tied up in mines, because I do believe that mines are 2 supply a piece, not terribly expensive, but so 2, 4, 6, 8. I mean, we have a pretty decent investment in mines, and really, they're very easy to have not very good engagements with. If they're microed correctly, believe it or not, you can actually micro them. If when a unit has walked into this small range, you can click on it and then assign and tell it what thing to click on, and it will shoot, as there's roughly a 3/4 second, or maybe it's a 1.5 second delay. I think it's 3/4 second before it locks on and then shoots a missile. What that means is, particularly on creep speedlings, and large groups of them can actually run right over top of Widow Mines, and there's not enough time for the Widow Mine to track a single unit and launch the missile. So interesting here. We're gonna see this dropship hanging out right here. These other units here being very sad. They're not allowed to participate in this drop, getting as close as they can. The missile turret, excellent idea. It's not done quite in time. That would have repelled this. And now it looks like we're going to have that big drop going off inside of the base. The missile turret will be able to take out the medevacs, but there's nothing here to defend. The entire army is up here. It looks like we might have a small base trade believe it or not, although correctly deciding to pull all of his workers to that expansion. And now we have a counter drop. You're going to drop on me, I will counter drop on you, although there's enough forces here to be able to clean that up, especially with no stim. Okay, there is stim research. He did not have it deployed at the time of the engagement. Makes a huge difference. Camping the production of his opponent, that's actually a huge deal. And he's going to make his way back. Excellent. So notice that the Widow Mines were not able to do anything in that engagement, so that was empty food. Some additional units walking their way forward. Those were the ones that had gotten lost. They were in the same control group. They eventually made their way in, but the drop has been cleaned up, but at great expense. The droppers making their way back home, telling the tales of valor. This one Marine. Hey guys, I can see people. Is he gonna take out the SCV? That actually would be a really big win. That will delay this command center by a really long time. And will he take it out? It does get canceled, but still, you did a great job there, little Marine. I give you a Purple Heart. Although I think he deserves a little bit more than that. So, looking around, we do see another command center coming out from Apocalypse, and now a command center here from pyrO as well. Income. We do actually see Apocalypse with a lead now for the first time in the game, but there are 2 expansions going up. Does he even see that? He does know that that's there. This scouting building will be letting him know that there is a proxy. So we do see the drop coming up here. Using that Ignite Afterburners to get closer to the opponent more quickly. Some Marines here are going to be tasked with destroying the scouting building. They will scout the drop though. And that was B instead of V, so we'll be teleporting back in time to watch that again in slow motion. Here it comes. Slow motion. So, going to be scouting that drop. He should be able to react to it in time. However, there's no movement yet. Okay, now it's going to be moved in. He is continuing to drop. Excellent work with these drops so far. He is starting to get some damage done, but I don't feel like there's enough guaranteed damage here. I don't think he's going to be able to do anything. He wants to get out before anything else happens. He does some damage to that refinery. He makes that supply depot light on fire, which might eventually burn down. But in terms of units lost, I don't believe he did very much. Let's see. What do we have? Workers killed. He has continued to get a little bit more traction like that. This engagement here is pretty good. He is going to be able to take out this command center, which command centers now include hairdryers like the Orbital Command Brethren. They've been upgraded. But now that there are siege tanks here, Apocalypse has to be very careful. Or the Orbital Command coming up here in the top right-hand corner of the map. And one here as well. He should be able to lift off and take this, although now this army is moving out. The army is much larger. He needs to continue dropping to buy himself some time and get some additional production. We do have tanks on their way. I don't think they'll be here in enough numbers to fight back this army of pyros. Supply blocked again. So painful. Good job on the watchtowers. It doesn't really take 2, but hey, the buddy system. Additional production coming online, but it's just not going to be enough. A whole bunch of queuing going on as well. He's panicking, wanting to make sure he's able to get some good engagements. That siege tank in the very front going to be taken down immediately. The huge concave, the upgrades are in fact even, but the concave there and the one siege tank back here actually will force Apocalypse from the game. So a really good series. pyrO having the upper hand most of the time. I mostly feel like from a couple of good engagements, although I feel like Apocalypse, you're doing quite well. Your drop play was good and solid. You generally lost a little bit more than I think you should. And I think you really need to work on your positioning and your engagements if I was to offer some advice. Although I'm no pro, what do I know? So good games. I was very entertained and will be looking forward to see pyrO playing in the finals of the MSL Code S. So congratulations, everyone. I apologize for my tongue tangliness tonight. I don't know what's going on, but now I'm officially caught up on all of the games for all 3 of these MSL tournaments. So please share the videos with your friends. Tell them all how cool you are. I will vouch for you. And let's get excited about those finals. Get some friends over. Make a big event happen. It's a lot of fun. So anyways, thank you very much. And this is Logan signing out.